2 years ago, we had 0 subscribers. Today, we have 26,000 YouTube partners, and we've made over $1,000 in AdSense.
In this video, we're going to reveal how we did it, how much our videos actually make, and how anyone can do it too.
So the channel that we started is called Hyperverse, and we make content about movies and shows that we like.
And basically, the reason why we started this was one day we were bored and we decided to just film ourselves talking in the car about things that we enjoyed. But we might as well make a YouTube channel out of it.
Yeah, we were like, we might as well make a YouTube channel out of it, start making videos. The way that we filmed it was actually we kind of like fit it into our schedule. And so if you didn't know, I run my own business where I sell medical equipment online. It's an e-commerce store. And Simon's been working alongside me for a few years now. We were working at an office, and at the office, we already kind of had a studio set up. We just kind of fit into our schedule. It was just like one day out of every week. We just spend like 1 to 2 hours just quickly coming up with the script and then making the content right there. This was something that was like fun for us to do, and also something that was pretty easy for us to just kind of keep into our schedule. So we kept it up consistently. At first, we were kind of doing it just for fun, but then we quickly realized we actually had a very real possibility of becoming YouTube partners and getting verified. So we grinded at it a little more after a year, and we were able to reach our goal, and we've been able to grow our channel to 26,000 subscribers.
Now we're going to dive in to show you guys how we actually did it, show you real analytics, and how we grew our audience to where it is today.
So first of all, there's like software and tools out there to kind of show you other YouTubers where you can kind of like see what they have for analytics and whatnot. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of show you, first of all, what Socialblade kind of says about our channel. So you can kind of compare what our channel actually does if you ever want to look at other creators as well. It's interesting that it gives us like such a huge range. It says we're either making like $400 or like $6K in monthly earnings. And I'll tell you right off the bat, we did not make $6K in monthly earnings. I think we could if it's like all from like long form videos. But our channel, we actually just focus on short form videos, mainly because it's just kind of easier for us to do this on the side as short form videos. Long form videos, they kind of require more time and investment and commitment. So because this is something that we're kind of just doing on the side, we just kind of focus on short form content. And we feel like that's also like the best. If you're just going for pure like subscriber growth, short form content is definitely the best to kind of reach that first, which doesn't exactly directly translate to long form views. Like if you do short form content and then switch over to long form, but it does help. That's something that we're actually in the middle of doing, where we're trying to put a little more emphasis on some long form videos. And we're starting to see that where we might get, 6-digit views on short form videos, but that doesn't necessarily mean that long form videos get those same numbers. But we're at a bit of an advantage compared to like a newly grown YouTube channel.
Because we already kind of built the audience and we have that loyalty that we built so far. And, it kind of does start to translate over to a long form, but it doesn't guarantee you those same views.
So if you dive into our dashboard, this is actually more so what it looks like. Our total revenue that we've made directly from AdSense is actually just over $1,000, which is pretty good for doing on the side. But if you're doing this like full time, like that's really not a ton. And if you did long form, you'd probably see a much more revenue than we've seen. But it was really not until September of last year that we became YouTube partners. So it actually hasn't been a full year yet, almost a year, but not a full year yet where we've been YouTube partners and have been generating revenue. So if you dive into our revenue, you can see that there's like a period where we became YouTube partners around like the end of May, June, and we generated some revenue and it just kind of goes down. And the reason for that was because we actually became YouTube partners around the end of May, June. And then there was some content that we had that was like more like reposts. They actually made us YouTube partners and then took that away from us. Within the next 3 months, we were able to apply again. And then we officially became YouTube partners again.
The right way.
Yeah, the right way. And so that's why there's like that bit of a jump and then gap and then jump here. And you'll see that reflect in the revenue of some of our videos that we're about to show you right now. So if you look here, these are some of our top videos. So we actually haven't had a ton that have breached over 1 million views. We've had some that were reposts that we've actually made private since then, but those were what also helped us to reach the stats that we needed in order to become YouTube partners. But everything else here you see is our content that we've made, and we'll show you some of the revenue that we've actually made. So this top video, there actually should be more revenue, but because this was kind of part of that period where it was like we became YouTube partners and then not, and then we earned it again, it actually starts counting really more so when we became YouTube partners again around September of last year. So the revenue here is a bit on the lower side for what it should be for 3 million views. It's $87. This one is also similar. We've made like $98 in total from this, but this was also kind of like a similar case as the other one. This one here is probably more so of an accurate view of exactly how much you can get for 1 million views. This is actually almost at 2 million views. So for 2 million views, this is like what our stats were looking like for this short. 1.7 million views. We've gained 780 subscribers, and we're just under $200 in revenue. Pretty good. But also, if it's like long form video and you have this many views, you would probably see way more than this actually. But this is pretty good as well.
So long form videos actually have more value when it comes to the views. So say if you have 1 million views, like Chris just mentioned, on a short form video, the value of the AdSense is going to be a lot lower than if you had 1 million views on the long form. So your goal should be to eventually have long form videos, but it doesn't mean you can't make money from a channel with only short form videos.
So if you didn't know already, if you're trying to become a YouTube partner, they actually have some pretty tough requirements. You can kind of get 2 different kind of sections of things. The first section here is kind of like YouTube memberships, YouTube shopping and whatnot. That one is like, I feel like most people don't really care about as much. The main one down here at the bottom is what most people kind of care about. And that's the watch page ads. And that's really like YouTube AdSense, where you really get the most money from YouTube.
So in order to become an actual YouTube partner, there are basically 2 things that you have to reach. The first one is that you have to hit 1,000 subscribers. And then you have to hit one of the following. The first one is 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days, or hit 10 million views in YouTube Shorts in 90 days. And that one was pretty challenging. And I think that's just pretty challenging for any creator out there. So we basically have to.
We pretty much had the idea of like, we either have to get one video that goes like extremely viral and like over 10 million views, or we just go more for like a volume game and try to get multiple viral videos. So that's the strategy that we opted for. We knew that it would take a lot of time that we didn't necessarily have to really grind long form content to reach that 4,000 public watch hours. So instead, we opted to go for the short form content, which was something that was more aligned with what we were able to do. And we grinded to hit 10 million views.
And 10 million views isn't easy at all. I feel like they could maybe lower this a little bit for the smaller creators, because this was quite the challenge.
The timeline of how we pretty much did it was March of 2023. That was when we started just kind of this channel, and we started posting, and it was more so for fun at that point. We weren't really necessarily trying to grow to a completely huge size and make money. But then by a year's time, around March 2024, we had a lot of videos that, got a good amount of views, and we're like, wait, it's actually very possible that we could become YouTube partners. But we're like looking at the requirements together. I remember we're like, that is absolutely crazy that we have to reach 10 million views. So we locked in and really tried to figure it out. And so part of our strategy was we actually kind of had 2 different content pillars to it, right? In order to reach those 10 million views, we had to start thinking about virality. One pillar was we're going to start using content about actors and behind the scenes and interviews. Leverage that content, repurpose it, because we knew that those kind of content would just generally get a lot of views and they're more likely to go viral. The second pillar was with our own content. We started shaping that to be able to reach virality. We really tried to optimize our hooks. We tried to really optimize our engagement. We were really thinking of our videos of like, will this video get millions of views or not? Will people click off of this? Is this something that anyone without any knowledge could really watch and stay? And so within about 3 months time, we were actually able to grind and we hit that 10 million views. And by the time we hit that, it was about June of 2024. And we were YouTube partners for like a week or so. And then it turns out they went through our channel and they're like, oh, there's some content that's like copyright. So it's like, we have to actually take this back from you. So we were like, oh shoot, now we're kind of like starting from square one again, right? But it turns out a lot of the videos that we did have go viral, they were able to kind of carry over. And then September of 2024, we were officially partners again. And this time we did it the right way. We were totally fine. And we've kept that status since then and have been making ad revenue on our videos since then. So that's how we grew our channel and how we became YouTube partners. If you're looking to become YouTube partners yourself, we thought the best way to kind of help you was to kind of explain how the process was for us and better strategies that you can do that we didn't realize until later.
And we noticed that there's patterns that we kind of had to overcome to continue to reach our audience.
And I think the best way to kind of understand this is by thinking of YouTube as levels. At least when we were making videos and we were posting consistently like every week, we realized there were kind of levels that we started breaking through. And so I would describe the first level as the ghost phase. The ghost phase is pretty much, you're not going to go viral. even if you have a video that goes viral on other platforms, and we had that, YouTube probably won't make it go viral. They kind of feed you some views, but they're not really feeding your views and having a lot of people discover it yet. So one example is that this video we made, it was actually kind of going over how Fortnite now allows you to make money on their platform, whatever. This, we actually had a lot of views on TikTok, and it had like maybe 5 digits at least. And then on YouTube, we posted it. It barely got anything. And it wasn't necessarily a cap, but it just wasn't getting seen. You know, even the analytics weren't bad. It was 65% stayed to watch, but then it just did not get any views at all, really.
And right now we still have less than 100 views on this video, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And it was a well edited video. It was a video that was likely to go viral, and it did well on our other platforms except for YouTube, because we were kind of still in that first level 1 ghost phase. So I think the best advice I'll give for this phase, which is where you're going to be at if you first start your channel, is to just stay consistent, don't give up, and just keep studying what works in your niche and what doesn't, and keep optimizing. The next level, I call it the capping phase. This is when you might have videos that might start getting more views, but they're going to get capped, and they kind of get capped around maybe 5-digit kind of views. So maybe like tens of thousands, 20,000, somewhere around there. And then YouTube just straight up caps it.
Like your views will be going up and they'll just straight plateau, and then you'll be stuck wondering why.
So here's an example where it's like the cap is so obvious. So this was still in like our early stage, but we kind of got past that level 1, but we're still in level 2, right? So we're getting thousands of views. It grows pretty fast, does pretty well, like 54% stay to watch. It should continue to grow and keep getting views, but around 12K or so, it just automatically plateaus. Like it's not even like a gradual like plateau. It just straight up gets capped. And there's so many videos we had around this phase, and even once in a while now, that looks exactly like this. There's no reason for it to stop growing, and all of a sudden it just gets plateaued. And that is YouTube capping the video. And that's what we've kind of seen. So I'd say the best advice when you're in this phase is to start experimenting and try a broader range of topics, trying to think of virality, because sometimes you might need to reach into broader topics to keep poking at the virality. Even if YouTube's capping you, you still want to keep poking at it until YouTube finally like lets you go. And even if you broaden up into a different topic, it's not something that you have to do forever. The goal is to just kind of keep reaching virality until YouTube recognizes, okay, they keep having videos that are getting a lot of views. And then you can always, go back to what you really want to do. But I feel like the best thing around this phase is to start experimenting, try and go for virality a little more, try to optimize and really go strong on your hooks if you're doing, shorts.
This can help broaden your audience and kind of grab the attention of other people that you might have not thought that would watch your videos initially.
Level 3 is the better phase, and I call it the trust phase. At this point now, more of your videos are more likely to reach full virality, reaching over millions of views. So an example of this is a video that we made about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and this one was about Zuko. Simon did this one, and then we posted this March of last year, right? And it grew, like it exploded, and you can see that there's not really a cap on it. It exploded all the way up until 1 million. It did slow down, but it's not really a plateau. It still grows at a pretty decent rate, growing by thousands of views, throughout the days. And even until now, like it's been like over a year now, it actually had another explosion and started reaching up again. And it's been climbing pretty steadily since then. I think it's slowed down a tad now. It's 7,000 views every 48 hours, but you can see it's had a pretty good growth and has had a long life.
After seeing these type of videos blow up, the goal is to double down on this type of content and see what's working and what's not. You have to optimize everything from the thumbnail to the hook. You really have to study these videos and see what made them go viral.
And although we're talking about YouTube Shorts specifically, this also kind of works for long form videos. When you have videos that go viral, if your goal is to keep growing and keep reaching virality, it's best to learn from the videos that do really well. And you don't have to necessarily copy them, but double down on like what works for them and what doesn't. Find similar content. Even if it's something that you don't want to do forever, you don't have to do it forever. But if you're in the stage where you're still trying to grow, it's most ideal that you just double down on what's working and find ways to recreate that. So examples for us at this time, videos on Avatar: The Last Airbender was working really, really well. So because we're still trying to grow and get more views, we doubled down on that. We made more videos about Avatar: The Last Airbender. And that's how we reached a lot of videos that actually reached 1 million views or even just close to that, even like 500,000 views. And we're like, wow, this is really working for us right now. Since then, we actually haven't made that many more videos on Avatar: The Last Airbender. So that's what I mean by like, you don't have to do this forever. It's not like we have to become an avatar channel.
Something that I learned from another creator was that you should focus on creating evergreen content. This is content that the audience can always find a reason to watch it again. Content about Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Office, and Ted Lasso are things that the audience will always continue to love no matter how long it's been since the show came out. This is something that we've found success in through multiple videos. So focusing on content that'll never go out of style is something you can pay attention to continue to grow your videos.
Even if you don't want that to be your main staple of content, it's kind of just a good strategy to have that in your content in order to have growth. Even if you're like in fashion, creating like an ultimate guide to fashion that anyone can watch at any time would be something that's like an investment where it can have a view chart that just constantly grows and grows and grows, and people can always find your channel from there. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make that content for the rest of your life, If your goal is to become a YouTube partner, the bottom line is you have to reach for virality. There's no way around it. And so if you're reaching for virality, you have to be strategic about it and think about, how can I have this video grab anyone's attention and be viewed by millions of people? At the beginning, we were a bit more stuck on like, oh, well, this is just how we want our videos to be, and this is just the content that we want to make. But we realized when we started reaching for YouTube partnership that, well, we can't do that forever because not necessarily everything that we're making is necessarily working, and not necessarily everything that we're making is something that everyone wants to watch. So it has to be a bit of a compromise, at least temporarily. You don't have to do it forever, but at least temporarily when you're reaching for YouTube partnership, you have to start thinking about how can this go viral. And so we really grinded and figured that out more so a year after we started when we were reaching for YouTube partnership. And we realized that if we did this from the start, we actually could have gone to YouTube partnership a lot quicker, knowing what we know now.
Doing this, you'll be able to find your correct audience quicker, and then you can narrow down and specifically go into the niche that you want to.
So here are some specific tips that could help you reach virality with your videos. First of all, one of the most important things is your hook. People have a short attention span nowadays. There's no way around that. So if you're trying to grab everyone's attention, you gotta grab it quickly and you gotta grab it within the first few seconds. A good hook pretty much gives viewers a reason to watch the video. Maybe it's something that tugs at their emotion. Maybe it's something that makes them become curious and now they have to watch the video to find out. Or maybe it's something where they realize, oh, this video is going to give me a lot of value, so I gotta watch this video. There's little things that you can tie into your video that even by accident that causes people to comment. Like if you mispronounce something, people are going to comment about that. If you have a controversial opinion, people love to debate about that in the comments. And even if you want to avoid any of that and you want to just do something subtle, just having something interesting in the background that people can relate to or just comment about is a good way to have people engage with your videos. Some people go to the extremes with that and do something a little less appealing, but with us, we try to just find little subtle ways. Even memes could be a good way to get people to comment because they love the reference that you made. So when you're making videos, just think of little ways. It doesn't have to be extreme, but just little ways that people can comment about the video. There's other stuff that we mentioned, like the evergreen content, but the bottom line is think strategically about it when you're really grinding for that YouTube partnership. In conclusion, YouTube isn't about just going viral once. It's about getting through these different levels of systems that they have. And really, the only ones that won't make it are the ones that give up. If you're able to learn and adapt and just stay consistent, you're gonna find your growth in YouTube, no matter what niche that you're in. So we're sharing all this so you can hopefully learn from it and reach YouTube partnership at a quicker rate than we did. Because we were kind of just doing our own thing and not really optimizing or strategizing anything for a while. But it was only once when we started really thinking about how can we reach that YouTube partnership, how can we optimize our videos, do we really grow our channel to where we wanted it to be. The chance of going viral overnight can happen and sometimes does, but for most people, it's gonna take a while. So just remember to keep grinding, keep adapting, and keep learning. Consistency is the key to success in the long run.
So don't be discouraged if it takes months or even years to build your channel.
And if you're at level 1 right now, drop a comment and let me know what kind of videos you make. I'll feature your channel in the next video. On this channel that I'm still growing, I make videos documenting the journey of what it's like to own and run a business. So subscribe if you're into that. And remember to have fun while you're aiming for your goals. We actually had a lot of fun just like coming up with videos and filming them together. And we actually never really made YouTube partnership like the goal, especially at the beginning. We were just having fun with it and it was literally just a hobby for us.
So trust the process, stay consistent, and enjoy the journey.
Lo que tú querías, yo soy fino, esto es trap de galería. Tú eres un charro, Rocky de aquí, una porquería. Yo un campeón, Rocky Marciano, Rocky Balboa, Rocky Balbía. Tengo la ruta, tengo la vía, sí, tengo la vía. Los gastos de noche facturo todo el día. Tanta plata que